Yeah, I mean, a couple of friends of mine. I was a good friend with Ron Yuhas, his brother Paul, and another friend of mine. We used to go to the races a lot, and they kind of talked me into, it was one of them ideas you come up with, and let's buy a race car and go racing. So we all chipped in and bought a used car from Phil Evans and went racing.
Tell us about your first car. What kind of car was it?
It was like a '64 Chevelle. The thing was basically a wreck. It had no motor in it, and it was all smashed up. We bought it for, I think, $200 or something, and started out. First thing I did was I built a trailer. Started junking some cars to earn enough money to, buy a welder. Got a used welder and a set of torches, and under the tree in the backyard at my mom's house, and just did it. Tommy Fox, he's the one that actually got me and CJ together, because because like I said, at the '82 season, I let Tommy drive my car, so we worked together. I was going to build a brand new car, that was for Tom, but in the same time, he wanted to build a modified, so I helped him, through the resources of Ron's shop. I, introduced him with Ron, and I helped him build the modified that he ran in the '83 season. And so when it came down, it was a matter of which car was done first, whether his modified was done, or my street stock, super stock was done first, which car he was going to drive. So once the modified was done, it was like, well, what do I do with this car? And the idea was I wanted to sell it. And he had suggested, well, CJ had his own car, he had a Mopar, and he was building a new car, and it wasn't going to be ready for opening day. So I approached CJ, and the plan was going to be that he'd drive my car, just for the first couple races till his was done, and just so I could showcase the car and put a for sale sign on it, and sell it. And we hit it off. I mean, first race out there, I mean, I think he finished. It was in the top 5. I think it might have been 3rd in that first race. The prior year, '83, was basically when CJ and I first hooked up, and I can remember, not even feeling capable of being in top competition. It was like, yeah, you get a top 5, man. That's like winning, But then it's like, we'd win a couple races, and it's like, wow, we can do this. It's capable. So then it's like the next year when, we're running strong and constant battle every week. The points, you never even thought about points before, and getting to that level, and yeah, that's what it's all about. It's competition. It's fierce battle.
Did you guys run all 3 tracks?
Yeah, that was when Bob Greene was driving for me.
Oh, CJ's gone by then.
Yeah, '85 was the last year that CJ drove for me.
Okay, so that first stint with CJ was '83 through '85.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ink and I had 2 cars that year. One was the Waterford car, and the other 2 were the big track car. And the way we looked at it, we figured we could be competitive at Waterford, and have a good point finish at Waterford, and we just had to make the minimum shows at Stafford. Well, and we had been running at Thompson too, and we were competitive at Thompson. So we knew we had 2 competitive tracks, and Stafford was just, you had to make the minimum 10 shows, and we'll see how we do. And we ended up 3rd in the Tri-Track Series that year.
Weren't you building cars for other people as well?
Yeah, right along. I mean, when I started out, because I was associated with Ron Yuhas, and when I built my first car, I built it in his shop, used all his equipment, and I did, like a lot of people would come to Ron for stuff, and I was doing roll cages, and basically that's why there was a year where I was kind of full-time employment at Ron's shop, and just building roll cages and doing stuff, and then it led on, doing it on my own, and was building, not so much whole cars. I mean, I did a few complete cars, but for the most part, it was roll it in. I'd put a roll cage in it, seat bracket, fuel cell bracket, and roll it out, in just a day or so.
Gosh. Wow, really?
Yeah.
You're cranking them out.
I used to be able to, do a complete roll cage in like 8 hours.
Wow. Now, how long did ink dry for you?
Well, it's from 86, 87, and 88. And then in 89 and 90, we were still together, but it was his car. We built a Malibu, and I was still helping him. We were a team.
And then when did CJ come back?
91. And he was driving for John Simlick, and I was helping out. Well, after the 95 season with CJ, I was basically at a point where I came in 04, where I felt I accomplished my goals. We won a championship at Thompson and Stafford, and I wanted to back away from racing.
Now, was that Stafford and Thompson? Did you win those in the same year?
Yeah.
In 95?
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And see, 94 we won with my car. Well, that was the other thing that happened in 94 was I wanted to keep it a one-car team, but CJ wanted a two-car team. So we built a car that was CJ's car, the Lumina, that we ran at Waterford 94.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then we had my Malibu that we ran at Thompson. And then the next year, we decided, I set this goal. I'm like, I want to run Stafford. We want to go after the championship at Stafford. And I wanted to concentrate one car, one track, because we only had one motor. But CJ had other ideas. He had a car without a motor, because we had the Larry sponsorship, and that was for Waterford. So when we went to the icebreaker at Thompson in 95, we had my car. No, we had CJ's car with my motor in it, with the Stafford motor in it. And CJ and Gary Espinosa made a bet that if CJ went out there and won the race, that Gary would build a motor for him to run all year. And Gary thought it was a lock because CJ was wearing dark glasses that morning and was pretty hungover. But he didn't know CJ's tenacity at a bet. So CJ went out there and won the race, and so we had a two-car team again. In between there, because if in 94, that's where Eddie kind of got, how Eddie got involved, or how we got involved together. It was, with being a Larry's car, we're both, associated with Gary Espinosa, and I knew Ed Sr., he asked if I could help them out, with the street stock, the 27X. And so I'd go down and I'd do some setup work with him and help him on the car and get it going good. And when it came to the end of the 94 season and we were planning on going down to Flemington, we were taking CJ's car, but Gary put together a deal where he supplied a motor for it, and Eddie supplied the team and the transportation and everything if he could, drive my Malibu at Flemington. And so we put that deal together, and that was how my first association with Eddie's team. As far as, working hand in hand at the track and everything. And it was a great time. We ended up getting rained out and having to go back. But Eddie got a top 10 finish in that race.
So now you're going into 97.
Yep.
And you guys obviously had a great year. You win the championship. Same kind of question from 84. Did you go into that thinking, all right, we're gonna win the championship this year. Let's go for it?
Actually, it was just one of those circumstance things. It's like you're partway into the season, and you're competitive every week. You're consistent winning, and the points are just falling in place. And a lot of times, the points are just something that come along, and it's not until you get near the end of the season that you actually start paying attention to them. You think you want to, but it's like you can't point race right from day one.
So you, like 2 decades, you're a fended guy. What was the decision to go open wheel with the SKs?
Oh, it was kind of a weird thing. It was like something I'd never see myself doing. I always looked at them cars as just too fragile. You know, it's like you rip the wheels off it. You know, you're done. You know, just too much money. You know, too much work. You know, too many. You know, parts you got to pay for. You know, not so much. But you know, having the resources of the Yuhas shop, you know, and it was just one night, I forget what the circumstances of us being at Ronnie's shop, you know, why we were there, but it was a party for something, and we're just looking at the car, you know, all those guys on the team, you know, we're just looking it over and saying, you know, well, we could do this, you know, Ron's got everything we need to build all the pieces, you know. So we just, you know, and the biggest catalyst for it was having Jeff Hedden was our sponsor, and he wanted to get into late model racing. So Jeff basically bought my entire late model operation, the car, the trailer, all the spare parts, motors, everything. Wow. You know, for a good chunk.
Yeah, so that's good,
for
right?
Good seed money for, yeah, so now I had to go out and buy another trailer. I've always told everybody about Eddie. I mean, he was probably our best sponsor for the car. You know, I mean, the fans loved him, and he always brought the car back in one piece. You know, some people could fault him for not going for the win, but he always brought the car home. Dennis, I mean, you can't say enough about him. He's talented. He's a nice personality. I mean, he can do things behind the wheel of the car that you think is impossible. Yeah, every year though, it was definitely coming right down, and you know, and Dennis was definitely getting the job done. And you know, you don't feel bad, you know, when you lose somebody that's getting the job done and you're not getting the job done. Hey, you're doing your best. And
what do you think contributed to you guys being able to come out on top that year?
Yeah, I mean, we only had to finish like, I don't know, 19th or something to clinch. But we ended up getting in a tangle up early. We stopped for an accident. Somebody ran over us, and you know, the headers were ripped off. So we're in the pits cutting the headers off, and you know, Nerf bars, not much there. And you know, the question, can you go back out? You know, don't cut the Nerf bar all the way off. You can't go out without a Nerf bar and all that. Yeah. Oh yeah, it was intense. But no, he went around there and you know, did what he needed to do to make it. Definitely wasn't my closest point finish in that championship.
Right. So he kind of rode off in the sunset because he didn't. That was your last year, right? As a car owner. Did you know during that season that this was probably going to be it?
Well, every year going up was my last year. I used to. I was teasing him right along. You know, it's like, oh, I'm all done after this. You know, you don't get it done. I'm all done. Actually, I think that actually started, I think, in 01. You know, after 01 season, I said, you know, I've had enough. You know, I'm starting a family. And, you know, I wanted more time, you know, to be with my family. So, you know, at that time, you know, we were living in Groton, you know, and I had the race shop was at my mom's house right next door to my house, and you know, so it wasn't bad. Phyllis was, you know, a big fan of racing, and you know, we met in racing, so it was, you know, just walk next door. The kids could, you know, come over. It was, it's kind of thing. It's like once you win, nothing else matters. I mean, second sucks. You know,